He's right behind you.
Hi, I'm Avital Ash.
I'm Jessica Richards.
And this is...
He's right behind you. Okay.
Our guest today is Adam Wasser.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
This is great.
Yes.
I love this.
How are you, and how
I'm
would you like
good.
to be introduced? What do you want people to know about you?
Oh, well, I'm a Los Angeles-based actor. I am married. I like people to know that I'm married.
Yeah,
I think
stay away,
that's-
ladies.
Yeah, it's very important. I kind of keep knocking them off with a stick. I do improv comedy. I have a weekly show at the Moving Arts Theater if you're ever in Silver Lake, Thursday nights
Cool.
at 10. And trying to write a couple of short films right now. So I guess.
And you just put on a play.
And I put on a play in October, which was fantastic. Great experience.
Well, that's great. What do you mean by put it on?
Well, because it wasn't something that I wrote. It was
Mhm.
a play called Sight Unseen that I have loved for 20 odd years and wanted to play the lead for a long time, and then decided I'm just gonna do it. And
Wow, good
yeah,
for
and
you.
it was. Jessica was.
I came.
Very. You said you were scared to see. You haven't seen a play
Yes.
since high school.
I hadn't seen a play in a long time. And, this is LA. When your friend puts on something, you go with the hopes that they'll come to whatever you put on. It's like really how LA commerce works.
Yeah.
And so I was like, we have to go. Especially because I know your wife, too. So it's like, this is really two for the price of one.
Mm-hmm.
Two
You get
favors
credit.
that I'll
Yeah.
get
Right.
later.
Yeah. You get a lot of credit for this.
But I was nervous because I
Is your
usually
wife
go.
in it, too?
Yeah, she was in
Oh,
it.
Yeah,
Yes.
she was
Cool.
amazing.
Oh, wow.
And I was scared because I'm used to improv and stand up and stuff, and I was like, this is gonna be a drama.
And it was. It's a
And like
heavy
I
drama.
kept thinking it was gonna be like a high school play where they were like in wigs or something. Like to be like, we're old now, and they didn't have to do that. They were amazing.
Yeah,
it
it's-
was I actually got into the story and had emotions.
I
great.
highly recommend anybody picking up the play. But so I did that in October, and so from there I'm now it was one of the first things I produced on my own, and I was like, this is great. I gotta keep trying to do this.
And it was inspiring because I left being like, I should put on a show. Haven't done anything. I should put on a show too. Because it's such a great idea, and to see follow through and all that is it was really inspiring.
I'll tell you, this movie. Also, I felt inspired. I was like, because they had a low budget for
Yeah.
Re-Animator, and I was like,
It's a
they
cult
did this.
classic?
And it's a cult classic.
18 days of shooting.
And man, I love
Wow.
this movie.
Okay,
It's
so what's
good.
your relationship with horror in general?
Oh, so I think the first horror movie I remember seeing was Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors, and it kept me up for 2 nights straight as a 8-year-old, 9-year-old. And since that movie,
That's so young to watch that.
Yeah, it was a weird, we were over at a friend's, it was family friends, we were at their house. I was the youngest of 4 other boys. They were all, must have been 14, 15-ish. And the parents were like, yeah, go ahead, watch this movie they rented, whatever. Big mistake. But ever since then, I am fascinated by horror films. When I see a horror cover, I'm like, what is that thing about?
Yeah.
I'm so curious. But I also know that when I watch horror films now as an adult, there's a couple ways it could go. It could be really boring and terrible, and I just turn it off. It could be fascinating and not, and I'll love it, but it won't actually scare me. It'll just be very entertaining and great. Or it will mess with me for the next couple of days, where if I have a hard time, I can't sleep without the television on. I need something. And I still have those feelings. I've had these feelings since I was basically a kid of I don't know how this is going to go.
What was the last one you could think of that really made you have to have the lights on, kind of?
Yeah, the TV on to fall asleep.
Yeah. I think it was The Babadook,
Okay.
which was so good because of the use of shadows.
Yeah.
I thought they were a little heavy-handed with the symbolism. I know horror films
love
generally
it.
should have
I
a
love
symbolism,
that.
but they were
Which I don't
so
love.
heavy-handed with it. But it was still such a well-crafted movie.
Yeah.
And the use of shadows in that was
Yeah.
so good. And that creepy Babadook voice
Yeah.
that he did. Yeah, if I was in a dark room alone, I was like, I can't sit here like this. This is
Wow.
unnerving. That and Hostel, which I saw many years ago, and I've only seen parts of since, but still I don't know if it scared me, but man, it got a visceral reaction out
Yeah.
of me. I couldn't stop thinking about it for days afterwards.
I saw it in theaters, and I think I blocked it out because I remember being kind of horrified and afraid, but I also don't remember anything about it. Which
Oh,
is good.
really?
I never saw it, but I saw Hostel 2 on the Sci-Fi Network, and it was edited for TV. And I was like, this is the sweet spot. This is how I can take these movies.
This is exactly.
It's like,
This is how
if
they're
they'll
meant to be
just show
enjoyed.
Hostel on Sci-Fi, I can finally see it.
Yeah, you'll see a 30-minute version.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right?
Hostel
Yeah.
2, there were a lot of jump cuts where I was like, thank you very much.
You're missing so much of it now.
I get what's happening. I'm glad to see
Speaking of-
Heather Mazzazoro or whatever.
Matarazzo.
I'm glad to see
Is
her
she
in another
she's
role.
In it? Oh, I didn't even. Oh, she's in Hostel 2 or the first one?
I think
Hostel
the first
2,
one.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, I haven't seen the second one. With Re-Animator, I got really nervous because whenever I Googled it, it said the runtime was an hour 40 something, but whenever I tried to watch it, it said it was an hour 25.
Because they have a lot of cut things. To my understanding from the theatrical release, they have a lot of cut stuff. There's one scene I'm sure we'll get to eventually that I remember seeing when I rented it once, and then when I watched it again now, I'm like, oh, that was very cuts.
Oh, that'll be interesting. to
Yeah.
have. Yeah.
That's what we found with The Crush, too. When we watched this version of The Crush that's out available now, it's
Yeah.
different than the one that I watched originally.
Yeah, it's weird when they don't put these things back in. I mean, I kind
Right,
of understand at the time they were like, oh, we got to cut it for this or that, but
but
I
now
don't know,
that you
it's
can get it
been-
online,
yeah, you can get everything online. It's been 30 years. You can put them back
Right.
in.
Where
it's
are those
fine.
20 minutes of Re-Animator?
I
And
need
I
it.
was excited
Yeah.
that it was on Showtime anytime because then I didn't have to pay for it.
I
It's also
did
on
have to go
Shudder,
to Amazon.
and I'm using my Shudder trial for a month. So
Nice.
Because with this podcast, I have rented almost all. I've had to pay for all these. I now own
Same.
It Follows because it costs the same to own it as to rent
Same.
it.
Really?
I might as well just
I own
fucking buy
Midsummer
it.
because it was a couple dollars more, and I was like, I'll revisit this for research.
Yeah,
this is
Only it
my-
charged me 3 times for Midsummer, so I have to fight them. It charged me
Really?
to buy it once and then rent it twice, and I was like, I just bought this. Why would I be renting?
But I'm
Whatever.
buying it on my mom's Amazon, so it's really messing up her algorithm of what's just recommended for her.
Yeah, right,
'Cause she
right,
only
right.
watches British crime things,
Mm-hmm.
and then I only watch these bizarre horror things, and it's all fucked up now.
Hey, to your mom, did you watch The Missing? Is that what it was called? I wonder if you'd like it. I watched that. I watched season
She
1.
watches all
Let me
British,
know.
anything that's British crime or
She
European
did a
crime.
very personal note. That's
Yeah,
great.
I want her to know.
Oh, before we get into Re-Animator, is there an image from a horror movie or scary movie or book or something that really stuck with you?
With Hostel, when he slices the guy's ankles and then he stands up, the Achilles heel and stands up, that part just gut wrenching. Oh yes, and the movie House. I don't know if you guys know.
I know what it is.
Okay, so this is another 80s
It's on Amazon
horror
Prime
film.
if you want to watch it.
With George Wendt and the guy who's the lead in A Great American Hero. But the whole idea is, the demons of his past come to haunt him in this haunted house. And one of them is his ex-wife. And there's a shot where he, knows the monster's in a bedroom. He comes in to fight her. And as he comes in, the door closes and she's clearly standing right behind the door. And it's the 80s. It's a very, it's a costume that is grotesque to look at. And it stuck with me the first time I saw it I saw it on HBO in probably 89, 90. It stuck with me for years, this image. It was frightening. Very reminiscent of what you would expect from Tales from the Crypt kind of things. But yeah, that image actually stuck with me for a very long time.
Is there something that really scares you in life or in horror movies, like a genre that's scariest or a
Fear.
thing? Yeah.
A fish. I have a very weird phobia of fish, live fish, that are bigger than a goldfish. Like a
Uh-huh.
little
Like a koi.
Yeah.
You
Do
don't
you
like
eat
koi
fish?
I
ponds.
don't like koi. I do,
Okay.
but when I see them at the supermarket with the heads on, or anytime the head is there, I'm just like, I get physically ill and I can't stand it.
So you couldn't handle piranha.
Yeah,
3D.
so a movie I can a distance, I know it's
Yeah.
on the screen, I can handle it.
Okay.
But I've always told people, I was like, oh, if I'm in a room with if there were cockroaches and snakes in the room, I would be fine. It wouldn't
Wow.
bother me. But if there was a dead fish just sitting in the corner, I would be so unnerved.
What about live fish, like if you're in the ocean or snorkeling?
Yeah, I won't go
Okay.
in water where I suspect fish would probably be.
Which would
Wow.
be
very
all water except for a pool.
Yeah, I can go into
Yeah.
a pool. I mean, I can go to the beach because how often do you really see,
Right.
fish at the beach.
Not here.
Right,
In
not
Hawaii,
here.
But yeah, in Hawaii all
Yeah,
the time.
exactly. I'm not going to Hawaii's
Oh,
beaches.
how
That's-
exciting for Jody.
That's yeah. No, she can go. We're fine. That's fine. She can do it.
Do you know what it is that scares you?
I don't know, and I don't remember at what point it happened because when I was a kid, it didn't bother me. But man, as I got older, I just remember starting like I don't know. I go into an aquarium and I can look at other sea life, no problem. But if I see a grouper,
This is
so it's just so
fascinating.
gross to me. They're so disgusting.
When you get to the bottom of this in therapy, you got to come back and tell us what it was.
Figure out. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Stingrays don't like a stingray or a dolphin. If I were to go to like a, not that I'm going to SeaWorld anytime soon, but if I were
Yeah,
to,
I don't
like,
think we're
I could
supposed to go
pet it.
anymore.
I could go up and pet it without a problem. But then but I would never get in the water with it
With
in
a
a million
dolphin.
years with
Oh,
the
I've done
dolphin or
that.
anything. Well,
At
good for you.
SeaWorld,
Oh no.
which you're not supposed to say anymore, but it was a long time ago. I had an incident when I was a kid where we were at a friend's house, a family friend, and I was really little. It's like one of my first memories because it was so traumatizing. They had a koi pond.
Yeah.
And my brother and sister told me that they were basically piranhas and
Oh,
that
God.
I shouldn't get too close because they'd murder me. And then I was playing outside and I tripped and I fell backwards into it. And it was like a foot of water. Like I was still like on the surface, but I was screaming.
Yeah, of course, you're losing
bloody
your
murder,
mind.
losing my mind. And they were laughing, and my mom was laughing because she was like, "What is happening?" Like because she thought maybe I was scared of like the water because I
Right.
couldn't
She
swim.
didn't know
She's
what
like,
they had told you.
"You're on the bottom. Like that's it. You can just stand
you
up."
can't go any further.
So you'd think I would have a fear of koi, but I don't.
All right,
I love
quit
fish.
bragging. I get it. No.
I'm just scared. I'm literally scared of like everything. Don't have that fear. So this feels very like
you
empowering
feel a little
to
bit
me.
better.
Yeah, I do
you
feel
feel
better
good.
about
Good. I'm glad I
myself.
could do that for you.
I-
That was the goal.
Like sushi is maybe my favorite food.
I don't eat sushi. I don't eat fish.
I love sushi.
So good.
I'll eat sushi. I'll eat. Yeah.
And the only thing that sucks for me is like, swimming in Hawaii. They were so friendly and sweet, and there were a couple fish like following me around, and I felt like
A
Snow White or
Disney,
something.
yeah.
And then I was like,
They don't
I
know the
shouldn't
truth about you.
eat them anymore. Yeah.
I don't eat anything from the sea. I love the sea.
Really?
Yeah, I am like a reverse pescatarian.
Yeah.
Morally, I'm vegan. In practice, I'm not. But I believe in it.
Yes.
Oh yeah, if I had to kill my own food, I would instantly become.
Oh,
a
yeah.
I'd be. Yeah. I'd
vegetarian.
be. Yeah. I would do terrible.
I
in
mean,
that
I could
regard.
still have cheese. I've milked a goat before, but I wouldn't kill anything.
Yeah, I wouldn't be a vegan. I'd be a vegetarian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need that string cheese.
All of that seems like. I'm also just lazy. It seems like so much work
Yeah, that's
to
the
have to. If I
thing.
had to
You're
do it on
right.
my own.
For
just
me,
get
it would be
some nuts
laziness
somewhere.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just pick it.
Yeah.
Berries. That's fine.
No, even the nuts. I'm like, I need them in a bag from you, Trader Joe's. You do it.
You do it for
Yeah.
me, please.
Do you want to tell us why you picked this movie?
I hadn't seen it in a long time. I remember loving it, and I remember I had remembered a few scenes, but I remember just really enjoying it, and so that's why I was like, I do want to revisit this film. So this is a great excuse to come back to this. And man, rewatching it again, God, this movie is so good. Like, it's really, they lean into the campiness perfectly without going over the top.
It didn't go where I thought it was gonna. I'd never seen it.
Oh, okay.
Well, yeah, I 100%. Because happy Valentine's month to all you listeners. we're trying to do sort of like romance-centric
I mean,
movies.
this is a romance
But
base.
I was so certain, I was 100% positive that it was going to be his girlfriend dies and they reanimate her.
Right,
And that's
right.
what the movie was going to be about.
I thought for sure
Nope.
that Herbert West was
Yeah.
the villain, and then we turned from that in a way where I was like, but wait, he's the clearly the bad guy.
Yeah, it's the second act new
Like,
information.
just
He is
because-
not.
Just because we have worse guys doesn't mean he's not the bad guy.
Yeah.
yeah, I do think I've had the opposite where I thought, oh, we're rooting for him. He's just a little
Off.
eccentric.
Yeah.
But then I think he does become a full-on bad guy.
And the only thing I
Oh,
knew
interesting
about
that
this,
that's how
Yeah.
you see that.
I see him
turn
as
I
a
in
only
villain.
knew
it.
this from American Beauty because Kevin Spacey and Wes Bentley talk about the movie Re-Animator when they're getting stoned.
Yeah.
And that was the only thing I knew about this. And then as soon as it started, I was like, oh, hey, it's the guy from The Frighteners. Like, how exciting. He's great in The Frighteners.
What do they say about it? I don't remember.
They're talking like a parking garage when Wes Bentley is the valet.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like saying how cool it is or something.
They make
'cause
the
he's-
comment about, hey, did you ever see that movie where the dead guy's holding his head and goes down on a woman? and
There
then
you
they
go.
both say Re-Animator at the same time.
Oh, that's
yeah.
amazing.
So they.
Another Kevin Spacey tie-in is he played, I think, David Gale in The Life of David Gale. David Gale is also the name of the actor who plays Dr. Hill in this.
Speaking of names,
Talk about Hans Gruber.
Hans Gruber.
How
I
I
almost
totally
spit
forgot
out-
that. I
I
rewound
almost
it
spit
and
out
put
my
closed
water when
caption
they were
on.
like,
'Cause
Dr.
I was-
Hans Gruber, and I was like,
Yes.
what the fuck is happening? What year is this?
Right?
It's before Die Hard.
It's before Die Hard.
Do you think they named him after this?
Well, so the only thing I don't know, because I was thinking about it, Die Hard is based on a book,
Okay.
loosely
With
based,
a different title, yeah.
but yeah, a different title. And I don't know if in that book the character was named Hans Gruber or not.
I don't know, but
Could have been,
I
so-
almost lost my mind when
But
they said
yeah, and I also
because they just threw it out like it meant nothing, and of course it didn't because this is before
it's
Die
85,
Hard.
yeah.
But in my brain, I was like, how can it not mean anything but Alan Rickman?
Yeah, and the shot at the end where the lead, I forget his name, is carrying his
Dan,
girlfriend.
Yeah, Dan Cain.
Yeah,
I always want to say Dean Cain.
Dane, yeah,
right.
that makes sense. He's
Same.
wearing he looks like from the back Bruce Willis because he's wearing
Yeah.
a wife beater and he's carrying her through. It's,
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, Die
Yeah,
Hard
so
totally ripped this
funny.
movie off.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And that opening scene too, like where
poor
it's the
Gruber.
the opening death
Poor
scene.
Poor
mom.
Gruber.
Yeah.
I couldn't figure out because in a lot of horror movies, that scene is something we'll see later. It's like this is something that'll come back in time later. So then I was like all confused about like, is this like how the movie ends,
Right.
or is this like whatever? And then I do like that right away. They're like, okay, that was before.
That we're
This
just
is
set-
why he came back.
Yeah, they were just setting this guy up already of who he is.
What does he say? Like, you killed him. He's like, I gave him life.
Yeah, exactly.
He was so good at this.
He
the
is
actor
really
who played
good.
Herbert. He was
Yeah.
like,
Lots of H names, by the way, with Hans, Herbert,
Yeah.
Hill,
yep.
Halsley. I was
do you
like,
think
what
the
is happening?
significance
Halsley.
is?
He was so perfect.
Yeah, he's great. He's like layered and creepy, but interesting, and you buy him as just committed to science.
Totally committed.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
on any ridiculous, pencil breaking was
Yeah.
ridiculous,
Oh,
and
God.
he did it. You wouldn't get a better performance out of anybody to do that ridiculous move. It was
Yeah.
So
so
funny.
good.
And do it again.
And
You need to get a
again.
pen.
It was so much fun.
We see a lot of Barbara Crampton's tits in this movie.
Yeah.
I could have used a little D to compensate. I felt like there was a lot of
This is the
nudity
80s.
from women.
So there was something I thought the first time I saw it, the first dead body they reanimate in the cooler or whatever, the guy that ends up killing
Oh,
the
yeah,
dad and
he's
everything.
naked.
He's naked, but I thought I remember seeing a lot more D
Yeah.
of him
No, you just
in
see
that
the ass in
shot.
this
Yeah,
one.
you really they cut. Yeah, there's
Maybe
not
there
enough
was
D.
Initially, there was D, maybe.
I think there was. I think that was part of what was cut, and also you have, at the end you have all the reanimated bodies, and I think they all were full on
Yeah.
nude for that shot, and yeah.
Yeah, you mostly just see.
Yeah, you see breasts. Although I was thinking, like at the very beginning when they're trying to revive the woman in the hospital,
Oh, yeah.
like her breasts, not gratuitous, not a focal point. They're
Yeah.
just like
She's a dead body.
she's a dead body,
Yeah.
and this is the way it would probably be. Is
Yeah.
if they're trying to revive someone, shirts off.
yeah, there's not enough nudity on Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah,
when they're
right.
trying to
That's
revive
what I've
people.
been. Yeah, that's one of the many reasons why I've stopped watching that.
And it's sweet because the woman is dead, but this is where you get that Dan Cain
Hmm.
is really
Do
committed.
you want to say Dean Cain too?
I do.
Because,
It's so
because
hard.
then the other character that is the dean of the school. So I
Right.
kept my notes are all over the place on these
Dean Dan
names.
Cain. Yeah, it's this. You get that he's sweet, and then you meet his girlfriend, who's played by Barbara Crampton. Who this is what made her an icon, right? This is like her
Yeah,
first.
yeah,
Which
absolutely.
I didn't know. We've done Chopping Mall in here, and she's in Chopping Mall.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
so
she's
then-
great in Chopping Mall.
Yeah.
Yeah, now I didn't know all these things, and now I keep seeing her in these movies, and I'm like, oh, she's had quite a career.
Jessica.
Yes.
Do you know what she did before she did Re-Animator?
What?
Okay, wait.
All soap opera stuff.
Yes.
Also,
Right?
what?
Soap
opera
operas.
stuff.
Oh, which one?
She was on. Wait, hold on.
I think
It's
I
all
knew that
before
from
my time from
Chopping
watching
Mall. I
soap.
think I remember seeing that. Like after I saw Chopping Mall and looked her up, I think I remember seeing
Days
that.
of Our Lives. Trista
Okay.
Evans Bradford from 1983 to 1984.
Yeah, that's
How do you
before my
not know
time.
this?
Well, if you're only on a soap for a year, you're not a main character.
She was in 80 episodes. 80.
Yeah,
80.
but that's out of like 300 and something episodes.
Still.
Well,
That's a large percentage, 80 out of 300.
I don't watch soaps from before I was born. That's the thing.
Well,
Because there's
you're
no
not.
there really is no access to them unless
So
it was on
That's
SoapNet.
actually fair. Yeah, that's true. You can't get any, huh?
But so
Yeah.
she probably did have a fan base before Re-Animator.
And then Re-Animator comes out, and how excited
Totally
are they?
different
They
fan
get to
base.
see breast and bush there for a
Right.
split second.
That scene, I
Yeah.
was not expecting
Of course. You were not
it. I
what?
was not expecting her to be fully naked
Yeah.
all of a sudden.
Well, we get her topless early on.
Especially,
Yes, we do get her
She's-
topless
she's
early
with her
on.
boyfriend.
And what a great introduction of the
cat?
tickling. No, the tickling from the no to
No,
her having
stop.
sex. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Like what a ridiculously funny, well done. Like they had to know that was ridiculous and leaned
Yeah.
into it. That was part of the campiness of this movie. I
Right.
loved so much. It was so
which
stupid.
I watched this, and then immediately afterwards, I watched Tammy and the T-Rex, which is it's a classic.
I don't know this.
I don't know.
It's a Paul Walker gets murdered and turned into a T-Rex, and he romances Denise Richards
What?
and seeks vengeance against those who murdered him. But my friend that I worked with was in it, so I was watching it, and she does the same thing where she's like screaming
Really?
out in sex, and then the dinosaur's above her, and she's like, yes, ah, ah, and,
Yeah.
and the guy's like, oh, I'm really good, huh? And, but I was like, that's so funny that both of these where it's like the different contexts that turn into sex.
Yeah, right. It seems like such a easy thing that should be done more often.
It's a nice cut.
It's a fun cut.
And I liked their relationship. They seem well suited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except that she says that line about like the second you become a doctor, I'll marry you. Where I was like,
Well,
okay,
also her father refers to him. Well, I think somebody calls him her boyfriend. The father, I think, refers to him as her friend, but she calls him her fiance.
yeah.
So it seems like he's already proposed.
Oh, I
but
didn't
she's
even think
waiting.
I caught that.
Yeah.
Really?
I think it's like the weirdness of her dad being sort of senior to her boyfriend / fiance makes her go, okay, once you are a doctor and you're not under someone's tutelage or under someone's thumb in a way,
Right.
then I can be your wife.
Which I feel like in a lot of these movies, you see the dean would be like, and I've basically picked out this guy for her. He's a star doctor. You know, like it's always like, well, of course he's doing well. He's dating the dean's daughter. Like I feel like that's such a trope from the 80s.
Yeah.
So it's funny to see the reverse.
Where
that
yeah,
we're hiding it for
not happy. I guess
integrity.
even he's not unhappy about it. They don't express that the father doesn't like him.
No, that
Well,
other
later
guy
on he
doesn't
does.
like
The other
him.
guy
Yeah.
definitely doesn't. What a weird
That toast.
that toast.
Oh my
was
gosh.
my favorite
He
part
says,
of the whole
to
movie.
the obsession of all who fall under her spell.
Well,
And I was
first
like,
he
your
was
dad's
like,
okay with that?
That was the crazy thing. I could see, unfortunately, a situation where the guy might say something weird and creepy like that, and the girl be uncomfortable, and the boyfriend who's a student there just sit there awkwardly uncomfortable. But the dad should have been like, "Hey,
Yeah.
asshole, that's my son."
We're just like, what the fuck? Or be
starts out-
surprised.
What do you
do?
There was no surprise.
Yeah.
The toast starts out with him saying, one last toast before you leave. Which is also, I was like, what, is he going to murder them? But he's like, to Megan, my esteemed colleague's capable, beautiful, loving daughter, the obsession of all who fall under her spell. I was like, what the fuck is happening?
What the fuck is
This
happening?
is the first we've seen these two characters together, and he's making this bonkers toast.
I
Yeah.
like that guy's face so much. I feel like I could watch him do anything.
He seems like he was
Storied
meant to do
face.
Shakespeare.
Yeah.
And then could never cut it in
Totally.
that world. So and somehow ended up here. But yeah, his presence is
Yeah.
so powerful every
Totally.
time, even when he's just a headless corpse. It's so intimidating. It's ridiculous.
There's a moment that I wrote down, and I should have been more specific in my notes, but I think it's Herbert, maybe, where he's saying we can defeat death. And he has something in his teeth. Did anyone
Oh
else
no,
notice?
really?
I didn't notice
I did
that.
not notice that.
That feels like it would be on purpose for this movie.
Yeah.
You'd think, but it's like just subtle enough that I don't think it is.
They're like, who gave him a bagel right before?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
It does seem like this movie is ultimately a cautionary tale about like bad roommates.
Oh, I was thinking about playing God.
I
That
think that's
too.
sure.
But
That's
also,
out there.
He lets
But
the
it's
guy
about
move
roommates
in.
more than
He
anything.
lets the guy move in with like
Yeah,
nothing.
that's
No.
true.
Where the girl, once again, the girl's like not being believed. She's like clearly being like, I don't think you should live with this guy. And then the guy hands him money and he's like, fine with me.
I got
Right.
rent covered. I'm all
Even
set.
though-
Yeah.
He's so like, I mean, over the top about, you have a basement, right? Can I see the basement?
Can I-
Yeah.
All that stuff where it's like, no red flags?
There's a
Dean
lot of
Cain, like,
times
really?
where I thought Dean Cain was not. It was like, everybody else's reaction seemed legitimate and understandable. Yours seem a little subdued for what's going on a lot of the time.
Yeah.
There's a few moments where I'm like, okay, I get it. You're in shock, and so whatever. But there's a couple times where, you're just kind of like taking it pretty easy.
Right.
Yeah, he handles the death of his cat pretty well.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, he like doesn't seem to have even liked that cat.
But doesn't even notice that it's missing.
Yeah.
And while watching it today, I had Linus, my cat, on my belly. So when that thing is like screaming, Linus just like is looking around the room, and I was like, "No, it's okay, buddy. You don't have to worry."
Do you guys think by the end of the movie, when you've seen it all, do you think that he killed that cat, or you think the cat was dead?
Oh yeah, he killed it.
He killed the cat.
He definitely killed that cat.
Especially because she's like, that cat never liked you.
Right. But like, just to not get caught, why not just kill a rando cat?
Yeah.
Because he's a bad roommate.
And he's not
definitely a bad roommate.
He's so invested in the work at hand. He can't like pre-plan.
Can't be bothered to go.
Can't
out
be
and
bothered
hunt
to
a
go
cat.
out and get a cat. There's a cat here.
Right.
I'll make up a story as it goes along. And by the way, he seems to be pretty good at like making up a story last second.
True, he's a good
When
liar.
the
Yeah, that story was bizarre. I found it in the trash. Its head was in a jar. It suffocated.
yeah. And what am
Why
I gonna
didn't-
do? Leave you a note that said cat
Cat
died,
dead.
more details to come? Like I was like,
I
you're
like
right.
that, yeah.
If I saw that note, I'd be like, what the fuck?
And I
That's
didn't want it to
garbage.
smell, so
Yeah.
I threw it in my fridge.
So yeah, that's
Checks out.
yeah.
I buy it.
I do not buy it at all. Do not buy it. Because also, I feel like you'd put it in the freezer. They're morgue people.
Yeah.
You wouldn't
Does
put it
he-
in your personal fridge. You'd throw it in the actual like freezer
Well,
for
why
the
wouldn't
apartment.
he throw it in the freezer anyway for his experiment?
Well, I mean, he's not performing the experiment in 3 weeks. He knows he's only got a few hours before he's going to do it. He's just slowing down the temperature.
There you go.
Alright, okay.
Listen, I think Herbert's genius.
Oh,
And
God.
I
Don't
feel like
question
he
his
was,
genius.
yeah, he was the
Oh,
victim
God.
of this whole movie.
Somebody warn Linus.
No. He also came up with a great story when they reanimate in the morgue,
Mm-hmm.
and the dead body's
the-
throwing everybody around, and then the dad comes in, gets killed. They reanimate the dad, and then security comes in. Finally,
Yeah, the security who's like clearly.
He takes the
Masturbating.
longest coffee break I've
Well,
Yes.
ever seen someone
he's
take.
reading Boudoir magazine.
Yes,
Yeah,
I know.
like,
And he's like, I gotta
Just
take a break.
the worst security guard. But when he comes in, Herbert makes up a whole story about how all the dad was acting
Went
crazy and all
crazy,
this stuff.
yeah.
And he's like, well, all right. I mean, listen, Herbert's a good guy to have in your corner
Yeah.
when
Well, the
shit
security
goes
guard
down.
doesn't like his job because earlier he's like, I don't even understand the point of my job. Like, nobody wants in and the people that are in don't want out.
Yeah,
Can't
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
why am I here?
What a fun, heavy-handed line to have to deliver.
Yeah.
He was great. I liked that actor.
When we do have the Dean Halsey crouched in the corner crying, or
Mhm.
like when they say he's insane, but he's just been dead and then reanimated, there's something really sad about that to me. It, like,
Oh,
hurts
yeah.
me.
I mean, the end of this movie definitely shows that a large part when the dad kind of saves the daughter, the dead dad,
I
Mhm.
did not see that coming.
it was so sweet.
She's
It was
like-
like, he
He remembers.
even
deep
with
down.
a lobotomy and being dead, the true the father-daughter love prevails.
Cannot be broken.
Yeah.
Bond.
Yeah. And I
Because
was like,
I wrote in my notes, like, as this is going on, it was like, she's trying to get through to her dead dad. Great plan. And then my next note is like, oh, she got through to her dead dad. Good plan.
yeah. Shows you.
I also like, I wish I had examples, but my brain is farting. When Dean Halsey has that reaction, Halsey, whatever. When
Every time we say Halsey, I think it's the singer now.
I know, now I don't remember
her
how they
name?
say
Is it Halsey too?
It is, yeah.
These names in this movie were like
Too many
very
H's.
futuristic.
Yeah, they knew what they were doing.
He comes to the dean, Dan Cain, not Dean Cain.
I wanna
comes
say
to the
Dean Cain.
and is like saying that Herbert reanimated his cat, and the dean does not believe him. And part of me is getting really frustrated, going like, well, why doesn't he just at least let him show him? Why is he like, that guy's expelled and your grant money is gone and whatever? But then I realized, like, it seems so ridiculous until you realize that that's happened a million times throughout history, where people are so angry at somebody for suggesting that the world is round or whatever it is.
Right, and they're like, get out of my office.
Yeah.
You, I'm done
Expelled
with
from
you.
society.
I can't handle this.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
to me, that scene was funny because he's like, you're out, your loan is done, and you are going to write an apology. And that other guy, he's out, doesn't have to write an apology.
Doesn't have to write an apology.
Well, if you're out, you have no leverage. Like if he's out, you can't
But
force
he's
him to
out
write.
too.
an
I
apology.
was
He's out.
like,
He can't force him to write an
why are
apology.
you asking
That's
him to write an
although
apology if
he is
he's
the
out?
son-in-law. Well,
Well, he's not kicking him out. He says that he just isn't going to receive any more financial aid, and then he says, "Well, I
He
can't."
says you're out of the program, I thought.
I think he says you're just not getting financial aid anymore, and he's like, "You know that means I'll have to drop out," because he says
Okay.
as much. He says he can't continue if he
all right.
doesn't have financial aid.
That is a little more believable for
Yeah.
sure.
But he probably won't write an apology because
He's
without
not gonna
financial
write an
aid, he's not
apology.
going to stay in school.
Yeah.
But it makes
Well,
more
now
sense.
he doesn't have to because the guy died.
Exactly. But I did like that it seemed so crazy. And then I'm like, but that actually has happened so many times where people are so horrified at the suggestion
Yeah.
of something that they won't even like look at the evidence.
Just bring the cat in with
Yeah,
you.
why not just
show
look?
him, like, bring him. First of all,
Why are you so
if
stubborn?
anybody sees a glowing liquid in a vial, surely you're curious. I don't
Right.
care what medicine you
It's
study.
true.
Like, you're like, that's not normal on any
Yeah.
level.
Oh.
I gotta look
Totally.
at that.
Yes.
I did
Um,
like I read that those were glow sticks. It's like the same
Yeah,
thing
of
that's
course,
in a
it's gotta be
stick.
glow
Of
sticks.
course,
I thought that was so cool. I didn't think of that. I was like, I don't know what that is. It's just a movie thing. And then I was like, oh, that's so practical.
Yeah, this makes sense.
But I did like that when he first discovers Herbert West reanimating stuff,
mhm.
that he's like, you can join me and like we'll be famous and we'll be rich. And the guy's like, I don't care about that. And then the second Dr. Hill finds out about it, he's like, I'll be famous and rich. And I was like, oh, that's what he was appealing to.
Yep,
Yeah.
yeah.
He's guy who was just the wrong crowd.
Right, yeah.
It's also, I wish I could recall what they were, but there's famous cases of people taking credit for other people's scientific discoveries and then years later it coming out. But I
Oh,
wish I
yeah,
could
Oh
for
yeah,
recall.
we
sure.
just had that with oh Jesus, the Taraji P. Henson space movie.
Oh,
Wait, what?
Hidden Figures?
Hidden Figures, yeah, where like a
Oh.
lot of those women didn't get credit.
Sure, yeah.
And now recently have gotten credit for all that, all the work they
Mhm.
did.
Thanks for
And
pulling an example.
didn't Edison
You're
take
welcome.
credit? Like,
If it's
Edison
been a movie.
hired Tesla to, like, do
Yes.
direct current or
I
alternate
think
current.
that's what
and
I'm
like
thinking
he,
of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he took his Edison's an asshole.
Yeah.
Tesla did
Fuck
all the
you,
work.
Edison.
Yeah, fuck you, Edison.
Just because he did that one picture with his tongue out.
That's,
Everybody loves
that's
him.
Einstein.
Oh.
I was like, what are you talking about? But yeah, that is
Thank you.
Einstein.
Thank you.
No, I love Einstein. There's my great grandmother
Oh,
for a
God.
while after World War II, like started this orphanage for a bunch of displaced Jews.
Yeah.
And one of them ended up married to Einstein's like grandson or something. And Einstein came to the wedding wearing either like 2 different socks or 2 different shoes was the story that I heard.
That
And I
is
loved it.
adorable and exactly what you would expect from
Yeah.
Einstein.
So we love Einstein with his tongue out. Fuck you,
I-
Edison.
I get them confused often, is what I found out. Because my brother lives in an apartment that's like the Edison or something. And he was like, there's a big picture of Edison. And I walked in and I was like, that is not Edison. He's the guy with his tongue out. So this is like a recurring problem I'm having. Like, that makes me sound not like an Einstein.
This just happened and I can't remember, but there are 2 people that I constantly say the wrong name. And I almost always will say Halloween when I mean Thanksgiving and say Thanksgiving when I mean Halloween.
I love that.
It's not just me.
Mike Myers movie Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Then the knife makes a lot more sense. He's carving.
That's true. He's carving. Oh, I want to just quickly go back to the music of this movie.
Yeah.
The
With
intro.
Psycho.
It's Psycho. And
Yeah.
I looked it up, and he, like, the composer admitted, he was like, I intentionally wanted it to sound. I used Psycho as
A reference.
as a reference.
It is.
But
it's
he
like
says an
this-
inspiration, and I'm like, no,
No.
you just remixed Psycho a little bit.
Yeah, it's like parts of it are 100% Psycho.
100% Psycho.
Note for note.
And it's perfect for the film.
Mhm.
It goes in wonderfully, but
it's
you're just
so-
ripping off Psycho.
I had captions on and it said creepy, fast-paced science fiction music.
Yeah, that's.
It should have. Your captions are wrong. It should have
It
just
should've
said
said
theme song from Psycho.
Yeah. That's what it
Because
said.
and then the credits are very like Vertigo.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's like I was going into this being like, okay, what the fuck is happening?
But it sets a great tone for this film.
It's a very fast-paced.
yeah, right.
Nothing
kind
is
of frenetic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of like
Nothing
lulls.
is
It
wasted. Maybe that's
keeps-
because they edited so much.
That's
but nothing
true.
is wasted. It's
Yeah.
all like he gets the roommate, the cat goes missing, he finds the dead cat, the cat comes back to life. He convinces him that he's the one that made the cat. Like within minutes, he's like, I'm not going to join you. I'll blackmail you. I'm going to help you. Like, we are.
Yeah,
once the
it's
train
just
has left
going.
the station.
It's
yeah.
great. It feels good because you're not like, oh, this part is a little dumb or unnecessary.
And I love when he helps him sneak into the morgue. That Herbert is pretending to be a dead body, and then he immediately gets up and puts on his shoes and socks, but he puts it on over the toe tag. So like the
I
toe
did
tag
not
is
notice
under
that,
his
but the
socks.
whole time I was like, oh, they're showing him putting on his shoes and socks. Like,
I didn't notice the toe tag either, but I did notice that when they were wheeling him in, there was not a tag on his toe.
oh,
So that's interesting. They, like,
Even
have
more
me-
interesting, yeah. There were a lot of great camera shots in this that I was like, it was so smart. I wish you could have done something more. When she gets out of the elevator to see where her father is, they like have her clearly stop and then do a wide angle, go all the way down and have her start walking. And I was like, I hope you use that again with somebody coming around the corner behind her or something like that. Because it was such a well done.
Yeah.
They had a couple of shots. There was like another one where they're in the morgue and it's clearly the camera looking down on the whole room on an angle. And it's only for like 2 seconds. And I was like, that's you should use that a little bit more. It's such a great visual.
Well, I love putting on the shoes and socks because I was like, this actor has to do a big fight scene in a minute. And he was like, I'm not going to fucking be barefoot.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, and I
let's
also buy
establish
that
this.
the character is like a germaphobe and wants his socks and shoes.
Yeah,
on, so
right.
it makes
He
sense to
is
me.
not comfortable.
He's so good
Yeah.
at playing. I mean, have you guys seen The Frighteners?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, who is he?
He's the bad guy in The Frighteners.
He's the Oh my gosh, I totally know who you're talking
Yeah,
about. Yes,
it's like the same kind of character.
Yes,
He's just like
only
nuts.
his hair is slicked back, and
He's nuts, and you don't know if he's good or bad. And
Yeah.
just like in this one, he's basically both.
There's
That's-
like a sterile quality to him that I think is very interesting.
yeah,
and like not trustworthy.
Mm-hmm.
Like that he's gonna. If he can use you for science, he's gonna use you. Which like in
Right.
The Frighteners, it's like you're the victim, but also you're bait.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
He's like people are inconsequential
I
to
love
the end
that
goal.
when he kills Hill in the basement, he says plagiarist.
Yeah,
So
he's
good.
pretty mad about what Hill has done with Gruber's theories.
Yeah.
On
Yeah.
brain death, the
So-
6 to 12, all this thing that I
Right.
kept writing down. I was like, I don't know what any of this is. I don't know what's happening, but they're saying
The
it over
6
and
to
over
12
again.
seconds, minutes. The 6 to 12 minutes.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that.
Of course.
Thank you, public school system. We all learned it.
I'm from Texas. We did
One
not.
thing that was like seemed like a really easy fix, where I was like, why this seems like a dumb oversight, is that when they show the severed head of Dr. Hill, he's clearly got this like brown wig on, and then they cut to him reanimated, and it's gray.
It's his gray hair.
Like,
yeah,
why
like
didn't they just
guys,
get a
you
gray
Well,
know.
they were
wig.
saying on the trivia that he wears a wig throughout the whole movie because they couldn't get the hair on the mannequin to look like his.
Mm.
So then they just gave him a wig to look like that because that
But
was
then
like
why
where the
didn't they
budget
just
was.
use that wig in the tray? They
I
have
don't
a
know.
very different color hair.
Yeah, he does when they're going to pull him up by the head or
Yeah.
whatever. It's quick, and they try to
very
do it in
jarring.
a little silhouette.
Yeah.
They try to darken the film itself, but you're right. It is very much like it's brown.
Yeah, and especially with how many effects there are in this movie, it's like that's the
That-
easiest thing. Just
18 days.
We blew
Match the
all the
hair.
money on a busted chest plate. That can't spend any more.
yeah, I
That-
guess so. No
yeah.
more wigs.
I did like that they weren't scared to kill people because, like, I didn't really know what I was getting into. And then when the dean gets squished by the door,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, everyone is going to die.
I mean, they're all doctors. There has to be a sense of like I'm not too queasy about
Right.
Yeah.
all these blood and guts everywhere.
There's
I
a lot of
imagine
blood.
doctors just play with organs all day long. Like that's my image of doctors.
Yeah.
You should watch more Grey's Anatomy then. Just keep
Nope.
That's my
Nope,
reference for
nudity,
doctors.
I'm off.
They're just having a lot of sex in the hospital is what I'm used to.
I think the scariest thing to me, even though he's like dead and reanimated, is the Dean, the father character, because what's happening to him feels more like dementia, where you're just like not in control and you're becoming a burden and everybody's
But then
worried.
I think part of that is the lobotomy, too.
Yeah. Right. That's
Because
true.
then he also, it's not bad enough
Right.
that one person reanimates you, the other person gives you a lobotomy.
Right. That's the scariest piece of the movie to me, is being that, like, kind of a walking zombie in a way that happens in real life and not just in
Yeah,
movies.
right, of course. But it's still very strong, because when he had to be tackled by two clearly bigger,
Pre-lobotomy.
Yeah.
yeah, right.
I think it's like a
Two orderlies.
Orderlies is the word.
post-mortem super strength.
That must be,
yeah.
you don't feel any real
Well, and
pain.
it's that animalistic of like coming back as a zombie. I feel like they're always very strong. This reminded me a lot, and I know it should be the reverse because this came out before, but we've done Pet Cemetery.
Okay,
Oh, yeah, I thought of Pet
sure.
Cemetery too.
You know, because it's like first you kill a cat, you bring a cat back.
Mm-hmm.
But
then
then
you work your way up.
But my thing was like in Pet Cemetery, you bring the cat back, and it's just like the same cat, but like a bad attitude.
Mm-hmm.
And in this one,
He's got
the
a
cat
bad
is like
attitude, cat.
has such a bad attitude that then he's like, we need to move on to people. And I was like, oh, I think you need to work on your serum a little bit.
Right,
Like, I don't
what?
want people to come back like this.
Yeah, he's just right away like, this is sufficient.
Yeah.
We brought the cat
Yeah.
back. It's fine. The spine's broken. Don't worry. He's not going to move anymore.
Oh my
Also, I mean, that
God.
cat scene in general was so perfect.
I
I
love
forgot.
it.
I was like, because there's a great episode of Community where they do a Halloween episode and
Yeah.
they have a cat just being thrown back and forth. And I'm like, they must have used this
Right.
as that basis.
I love it when it's on his back.
Oh, it's so
Yes.
funny.
And it's clearly like a stuffed animal just
Yep.
glued to the back of his coat.
Yes.
But the guy is selling it.
He is into it 100%.
Oh, it's
So
amazing.
good. Also, you can see a boom mic shadow.
Oh, I didn't
When
catch that.
the lamp is like going back and forth, there's clearly a boom mic.
Because I can buy Herbert is like hungry and driven and doesn't want to wait and let's move forward now. But what I don't buy is why he doesn't have like restraints for the people that they bring back. Like clearly,
Well, especially
cat
after
is insane.
Hans Gruber in the beginning
yeah.
was clearly he
Yeah.
brought him back and it didn't go great.
Although he didn't seem violent in the beginning.
Well,
Yeah,
we hear
his
a lot
eyes
of noise.
burst out.
Yeah.
Right? It starts where you hear a lot of noise coming from the room.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
right,
And
right.
and Dr. Herbert's on the floor,
Yeah.
and then he crushes his own head.
And they're just speaking. I like that they're speaking English to each other.
Yeah.
In
Like,
Switzerland.
Yeah, in Switzerland, they are like, well, there's
Of
no
course.
Americans in this room or English
Yeah.
speakers. Let's all just speak English just to work on it. Like, let's practice it.
He's violent towards himself. And then, as the
Yes.
movie goes on, they're violent towards other people.
Yeah, sure. He's
Well, and
punishing
then as part of that, the lobotomy that makes him violent towards other people.
Mm-mm.
him. Nope. Nice theory. Get it out of here.
Well,
Well,
because that was
actually-
something that comes later where it's like, and I lobotomized an army, and I was like, okay, new information. I don't know where to put
he
this.
did lobotomize everybody else. So
Yeah,
that
that's
makes
how he
them
gets Meg.
controllable.
Yeah,
Right.
with that great
That head
laser
is-
gun.
As
But
soon
that
as they
guy's
chop
violent.
his head off, he really starts thinking.
The guy that
Nice.
kills, that is true. The guy that kills the dean becomes violent right away as soon as they reanimate him.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
He's-
heart attack guy.
Yeah. He's a
He's
monster.
pissed. He was like, I died. I was in heaven. I had,
You
like,
brought
I
him
was
down.
doing
God.
great.
Yeah.
Things were fine. You bring me back to this shithole and look at me.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's angry like the cat.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why I was like,
Bad
maybe we
attitude.
should like work on the serum a little bit.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I buy that he's just like, this can't wait. But like, get handcuffs, like have
Yeah.
something.
Right. Something to make sure.
Yeah, to protect yourself and the people
I think
around
he's just
you.
reckless. He's like Alec Baldwin in Malice, and he's like, I am God.
He thinks he's invincible. And
They
that's
always
his
do.
Downfall.
Mhm.
All doctors.
I was excited that it seemed like he didn't make it out.
Yeah, right. He should not have. Although I feel like with the sequels, clearly.
I know. Then I was reading there were sequels, and it was like Dr. West's work, and I was like, wait a second, is he in these movies?
Yeah, he seemed like he was a goner.
Maybe
Nah.
they reanimated him.
What a great
And
final
it worked for
shot.
him.
What a great final shot that is of the
The
of him-
briefcase.
where he's trying to save her, and then he can't save her, and he puts the liquid into her, and the whole screen just goes black except for the green.
Oh yeah, I love that shot.
So good.
It's so cool.
So much fun.
It's also very Pet Cemetery.
Yes.
Is
Yeah.
it?
Yeah,
I
at
don't
the
think I
end of
ever
Pet
saw the-
Cemetery.
Yeah, either
he-
Pet
it's-
Cemetery.
He uses it on his wife who died.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Spoiler: she does not come back great.
What?
Yes,
Because
basically the
just
same
like
thing.
in both of these, they're like we need fresher. The reason that it didn't go well is we need a fresher specimen, which keeps. I was like, there's a lot of themes in here that are the same. Of like, I feel like
Yeah.
everyone is telling us don't do this.
Yeah.
the results are the same, whether it's a haunted cemetery or a glow.
Just glow in
Syrup.
the dark, yeah.
It doesn't work out for cats.
A fun thing is that early on, I think it's maybe the first time you see Dan Cain's room. I have to hesitate every time. There's a
I've
talking
just fallen
heads
into
poster.
it. Yeah.
Yes.
And then
Yeah.
later there's the like, who's gonna believe a talking head?
Oh,
and I really
so
liked
well
that.
done.
Mhm.
Well, and when they kidnap Megan
Mhm.
and strap her, and then her dad rips off her clothes in one fell swoop,
Oh
Ugh.
my gosh.
and
Yeah.
then literally the head is trying to give her head.
Yeah. So in the cut scene I was talking about,
Mm-hmm.
like that head, they have a shot of like her legs up and the head goes in like a lot more
Oh,
than what
wow.
you see, and it's a little and her screaming like it's a rape scene essentially, like, and I think I must have watched DVD commentary or something, but I believe that the guy playing the doctor,
I know
his
this too.
wife
Yeah.
walked out at that point, and shortly after the film they got divorced.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it said on IMDb, it was like in one of the commentaries, all of the cast and crew were saying that was why they got divorced, was that scene.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That there was something where it was like he felt bad doing the scene, and then the wife was like, well, I didn't feel bad enough.
Wow.
It's like a fact on IMDb trivia.
I mean, it's nice that he felt bad doing it. They
I mean,
could have
but
done
it
a
is
lot of that.
acting.
Yeah.
It's not. He's not raping a girl.
He's really not, of
Yeah.
course.
No, she's got consent for the scene.
Yeah.
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 But
Although I did think it probably
I was not prepared for that, though. I really hadn't seen this or knew anything about it.
Yeah.
So when that was happening,
Oh, yeah.
I was like, what are we watching?
She's also not, like, her hand is not.
One hand is free.
One hand is free, and I'm not saying she could completely free herself the
But
whole
she could
time.
have tried.
But she could swipe away at the head a little
Right.
bit more.
Or
I think
start
there's
using
a little,
her
like,
hand to get away.
yeah.
I feel like that probably was fairly traumatic to shoot, just because you're like on that slab of metal. It's got to be cold.
It's
you're
gotta-
naked.
yeah.
There's tons of people around.
Yes.
And you're being violated just in the scene, but it still seems like.
Well,
It's
so
got to
one
be
of
a
the
horrible
facts-
scene to have shot.
Yeah.
Another one of the facts that I read. This is all recent in my
It
brain.
was all her idea.
That is funny. They were like, be clothed. She's like, no.
No.
But it was like while they were setting up that scene and she's naked on the gurney, one of the crew people was like, oh, look at the lights, like cool lights. Like the lighting was really good. And she was like, cool lights? You mean cool tits? She's like, that's what you're looking at? I'm naked.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean,
That's
that's
fair.
reassuring to feel that she was that confident in the whole thing and felt
Yeah.
that
Yeah, felt
comfortable.
safe, yeah.
Felt safe.
I will say that is the scene that made me horny.
What?
I think it's because I grew up like so religious, and so
Yeah.
there's like this repressed sexuality, and so the times that it feels safe, of course not in real life, but just in my fantasy, are like, oh well, it's out of my control and it's against my will, and so there's just something that's like,
And he's not. He's dead, so I don't know that it counts.
Exactly.
Well,
Right?
it's also
yeah.
interesting that it's like a her pleasure scene.
Yeah.
Right.
Because
Right.
typically it's
Right, a rape
not
would
what
be
we think of
vaginal
as a rape
penetration,
scene.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
Because
true.
rape scenes are like more about the man getting something out of it. Not that she's not getting anything but like
Right.
disgusting blood all over her.
Listen, as a man,
But-
you can get a lot out of performing that act. I'm just saying.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you know what I mean? It's not a typical.
but
Rape
also he's
scene.
obsessed with her.
You're right.
Where like oftentimes it's just about power and wanting to like make somebody else feel low. Like he's obsessed with her and has been obsessed with her. Has a lock of her hair. Has a box devoted to her. So I buy that he just like wants
Wait,
to
he has a
taste
lock of her hair?
Yeah. There's
Yeah.
Where is that part?
They break into his.
Yeah,
Office,
Dan
and
Cain
he's got.
breaks in.
I
Yeah.
missed this part.
This
So
is one
wait,
of my
where was
favorite
this?
things because he opens this box that he finds and there's a lock of her hair, which, first of all, how did he get it without her noticing?
Yeah. Right.
Secondly, there's a clipping from like a newspaper where
I
it says,
totally missed this. I wonder
Oh.
if this is not in the version I watched.
I don't know.
That's
it
very
was,
Showtime.
strange.
it was in the hour 25. It was in the
25 that I
shorter-
watched, yeah.
Okay.
It's a little newspaper clipping that says Megan Halsey voted sophomore sweetheart. Which, like, that's not a thing. You don't get voted sophomore sweetheart.
This is a different time.
What is that?
They had.
I
yeah.
do like when Herbert judges him on it and it's like, you had all this power and you went after that bubble-headed co-ed.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's what you stole my serum for?
I didn't like it because, well, I mean, I liked it as a choice, but it was like, wow, what a misogynistic guy. Like, you
Yeah.
don't know that she's dumb just because she's
Yeah,
blonde.
I didn't like bubble-headed.
Yeah.
It's like, we don't know much about Megan to judge.
But
Yeah.
also that's true to Herbert he's asexual, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't
he
notice
only
that she's
views
hot.
things in a science level,
Yeah.
and so when people have sex, like he can't comprehend
Yeah.
that. It's like,
You
what are
know,
you doing?
There's a nobility in him wanting to further science, but it, I think, is totally cut down by him also being so desperate to have the credit for it. that he
Right,
can't
right,
stop.
right,
Yeah,
right.
and like that whole thing, you'll be rich and famous.
Yeah.
His line.
Forever.
of-
He's like, you'll be rich and famous forever because
For-
we'll keep living.
Yeah.
His line of "Who's gonna believe a talking head? Get a job at a sideshow." It's so great. His delivery of it is awesome. It
I
is.
agree.
He won me over with that moment.
Can we talk for a second about where he is squeezing blood into the tray that has his own
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
because that's how he
stays alive?
eats. Yeah, like it was a
Yeah.
very.
like you gotta keep it
that's
moist.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, like.
It was like a nice warm bath that he's taking, but it has to be blood.
And I liked initially. I wonder if this was a choice on the filmmaking of him, like his talking of like can barely breathe. I was like, well, he doesn't have his lungs. I like that he's trying to make sounds, and it's
Yeah.
very.
Yeah. Mhm.
And then essentially he can just talk normal. I was like, was it going to be too much to hear him talk that way the whole time? Because it kind of loses.
Right.
I appreciated that you were like, well, he has no lungs, and so therefore his speaking would be a little
But of course, he
strained.
can totally see without his head. They make it like just clumsy enough.
Oh,
that he has to
so I
But-
mean that the fake head on top
Uh-huh.
of while
Oh, I
he's
love
trying
that
to
way to
what a
ear falls.
vaudevillian like
Mhm.
style of
Yeah, totally.
just
Makes me
trying to
think
of, like,
feel
three
around
kids
the
in a
door.
trench coat.
So
And then
dumb.
it's like whoever was that body is the one who gets to feel her up because the actor
Right.
Yeah.
is at the table with his head under.
Yeah.
I think it's like, who was that
Yeah.
person?
Oh, the scene that made me horny. I think it's mostly the feeling up. It's not the head. It's like she's
It's, like, rough.
unconscious, and he's
It's like
just
a rough feeling up where I was like, he's really
Yeah.
grabbing it.
Well, he's really
Not
just
into
like
it.
it's like doesn't feel like he's like trying to figure it
Yeah,
out.
it's
Like, am I there?
sloppy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very 13-year-old boy who just discovered. Like,
Yeah.
oh, all
Is
right,
this doing something?
Yeah.
When she does get killed at the end, Megan, they're like in an elevator and somebody comes in. It does not seem like it would be enough to kill her.
Yeah, her.
Well, and he could have prevented it because he really just like leaves her to go find a weapon.
He went to go find. Look,
But
he
he's trying to
wasn't
save
doing
her.
much
Yeah.
himself. I thought about it too. I was like, he's just gonna. Well, I guess he's getting an axe. I don't know what
but
I
it
would
still
do.
didn't seem like she.
But all
I
she
think
was.
it was that it got crushed, is what the doctor said.
What got crushed?
Her
Her-
thorax, lorax.
Her Lorax. It's
Dr.
definitely her
Seuss.
Lorax. I know.
That's the doctor I know, Dr. Seuss.
Nice doctor.
But that was, or your trachea.
But that wouldn't kill you.
I don't know,
Would
but when they said that, I was like, okay, so it wasn't strangulation because strangulation would take longer.
Mm.
But so
Yeah.
it was like
Yeah, it did seem like her
something-
death was not
Yeah.
Yeah.
justified.
Yeah.
But so when they said
or-
that thing, that's where I
earned.
was like, is that the doctor saying like, give up? That was the cause of death, not something we can revive her.
I mean, I have to say this. I also think that doctor was quick to give up
She was real quick to give up.
because I think she had a crush on
Yeah.
Dean Cain.
I
Ulterior
think she had other
motives.
things to do. Because earlier she's like, when he keeps going on a patient, she's like, your optimism is what's going to hurt you as a doctor. Like, time is money. We got to move
Yeah.
it along here. Where I
It's
was
also
like,
funny
"Eh."
that everybody's like invested along with him in reviving her when there's like pure chaos and like a zombie.
Well, they all know
apocalypse
her because it's the
downstairs.
dean's
Yeah,
daughter.
I know,
Of
but
course,
there's
so
something-
much happening.
There's so much going on down below, and at the very least, it seems like most of the hospital is not aware of the zombie apocalypse
Yeah.
downstairs.
Yeah, so
But
what's
they're
happening
definitely
upstairs?
aware of like acid that has been thrown as there is like smoke filled in
Yeah.
the room and everything.
Right.
Nobody's really doing any research on it.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, well, it's
People
a
are pretty
hospital.
calm.
Well,
Yeah.
I guess we this is what happens.
Yeah,
This is what we
everybody
train
seems pretty
for.
comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't think. I didn't think that was
Yeah.
enough to kill her, especially for a movie that's so gore heavy.
Yeah.
Why
Oh,
not?
but what a great yeah, again, that
I
that
love the hand
chest
that's just like
open-
wandering next to her.
yeah.
It was very like Evil Dead.
Yeah, run in the elevator,
Dead
you
too,
mean?
yeah.
I
I did love that.
I also loved because it was moving and he takes it and he throws. I was like, is he going to throw it off that way? Because it's clearly somebody's hand, but he just kind of bats it down, so it just goes quickly out of the shot. A little underwhelming. I was hoping for a
There
full
were
throw.
like things that were echoing back to Evil Dead 2 for me.
Oh,
for
yeah,
this movie, where
absolutely.
It's like clearly whoever made this liked Evil Dead 2.
Yeah.
and was like, what if I make this with more money?
Eventually, the security guard does see a headless body, and he's so calm. He like slowly backs up and then he runs away. But
working
he's
at the
very
morgue.
calm.
He's like,
But walking around a headless body is different than an immobile headless
I don't know.
body.
You've seen one dead body.
You've seen them all.
But he didn't like to look at him either. Remember when
Yeah.
he was like, "Oh, you don't want to look at this one. It's
Yeah.
Meatball's been hit by a bus." And then they get in. Herbert's like, "Meatball, like, calm down. You understand what's going
I know, but
on."
then
You
a
don't-
second later, he's like, here's your meatball.
Oh,
When
yeah.
He pulls off another one.
Yeah, I did like that twist where I think Herbert says, unless it's not Dean Cain. Now I can't remember. One of them says, I have a plan. And then Dr. Hill says, so do I.
Yes.
And his plan is cooler and
His
more
plan
effective.
is really good.
Yeah.
Because then all of the dead bodies start moving.
Yeah.
They come to life.
Oh, and when
in
Herbert,
like trash bags and stuff. That was
Yeah.
that might be my favorite part of the movie was
That's
that
a good-
moment because
I-
he really had to choreograph with them of like, okay, I'm gonna say, and I have a plan, and,
and
that's your
everybody
cue. That's
rise
your cue.
and get up
I
at
know.
this.
I do kind of wish that there was like a word that he said because it just seemed too easy. Like,
I
Yeah,
think it's
yeah,
like
they knew.
I think it's like mind control. Mind control was like that's your throwaway for how it happened because
Yeah.
he's like lobotomized controlling them.
When he lobotomizes everybody, it seems like it doesn't take too long for the laser to
Oh,
go
yeah.
into people's heads.
I
But
thought
then
you
when
were
he's
gonna say
doing
just
to
how
Herbert,
quickly.
Herbert is just like kind of sitting there, like looking at
Yeah.
other things. I'm like, there's a
Right.
hot laser beam on your head.
He's also moving it toward his head very slowly, giving
very
him plenty of time.
yeah,
to be
like
saved.
yeah. He it was the one of the few inconsistencies in the doctor's work. It was very frustrating. Also, the one-way mirror that
yeah.
scene.
Oh, that's so funny. He can't hear or see you, and I thought it was because they were like he's in a trance, like because this is a one-way
Oh,
mirror.
it's funny. I got that it was a one-way mirror, and I was like, "Yeah, we know. Why
yeah,
is he
you did
telling
not.
us
You
this?
did not have to set that up.
Yeah.
But then
Because
later,
you can't hear someone through a one-way mirror. By the way, if you like bang on the mirror, they can hear you.
Right.
It's not if you're like shouting and stuff, you can hear them.
I
It's
don't know
not a
about
soundproof
shouting.
mirror.
I think it is soundproof, but the banging you might be.
But you
able
know
to
what I
hear.
mean? That's why I thought they were like, he's in like a trance. He
Right.
doesn't understand you anymore. That they're like because of the mirror, and I was like, oh,
all right.
oh
it's one of
okay.
those.
I guess that is practical.
I did agree though. I was like, yeah, it's a one-way mirror. I get that. Why else would you have your office look into
Right.
a padded room?
Exactly.
Also,
Of
why
course.
is your office next to the padded room? That seems
Yeah.
like inconvenient while you're trying to get stuff done, and they're just throwing people in there.
I also love the politeness. There's like one scene where they keep referring to everybody as Mr. Such and Such and Miss Such and Such.
Yeah.
Nobody's using first
I
names.
couldn't tell, especially when they were referring to not Dean Cain,
Mhm.
and they called him Mister. I thought they were trying to take cheap shots at the fact that he was not,
Not
a
a
doctor.
doctor.
Yet.
Oh.
Yeah, not a doctor.
True.
Which is that not Dr. Shh,
Yeah,
which is at the end of all of Mike Schur stuff.
but I thought they were like throwing an insult at him the whole time. Every
Right.
time they called
That's
him
really
Mister.
funny.
That makes sense. I didn't catch it.
But they
makes
did
perfect
also
sense.
refer the head nurse when the dean decides to go check out what's going on downstairs and his daughter is left in, I really don't remember anybody's name.
Megan.
When Megan is left in the hospital and the head nurse or whoever she is like, Miss whatever, just sit
Miss
here.
Halsley.
I'm like, you guys know each other. You can be polite about this. There's no reason to be
Right.
a stick up your ass. You understand the scenario. Like, have a
Yeah.
little.
Maybe that's why later she's not so quick to revive her.
I mean,
Maybe.
Like, oh well,
yeah,
Miss Halsley's
she did not.
gone.
Yeah.
Also, I like that I think it's just funny and silly that she then is stuck. It's almost like being grounded. Then she's like stuck in the chair. But as soon as that nurse leaves, she bolts.
And she walks by the guy with the head wrap, who I feel like
And
is
gives him a
the
magazine.
director's friend or something who wanted to be in the
Oh.
movie. Because he kind of like, he takes, I feel like, when you do background work or something like that, you would just take it and like nod. He like, his eyes follow her all the way down. You can see on camera, like he's almost looking into camera.
Because she's so hot.
So she's, I mean,
Yep, she's the object of everyone's obsession.
yeah.
As
Dr.
the
Hill told
toast.
us.
What's he gonna do? Look at the lights with
They
those
really set it
tits?
up.
Come on.
Nice. That's
Nice.
what we call a callback.
Ah, thanks.
When the intestine comes out of the Dr.
Yeah.
Hill's body to strangle
Yeah.
Herbert,
Oh, yeah.
for a minute I was like, this doesn't add up. What, now he's an alien? And then I realized it was his body doing it, and I was like, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, his body knows. Like, when you're reanimated with that juice, your organs just go.
Yeah,
He's
that's
definitely
so
more
great.
competent and present than anybody else who's been reanimated.
Yes, for sure. Wow, he was so smart when he was alive. He was able to
He had all that
use that.
plagiarized knowledge.
Yeah.
Well, and then I was like, as part of that, because of the decapitated head part, that the head is separate from the body, so the head can like think more clearly.
Right, like if
something.
you are blind, you have like extra powerful hearing, or vice versa.
Because that's the
when you
only
have no body,
person-
your brain is
So
so, smart.
smart.
Yeah, that's the only person who is like that. It's the only
Yeah.
one who's like that in the sense that he's smarter, but he's also the only one whose head is removed.
That's
So
true,
then I
because
was like,
even when we
coincidence?
Does that
reanimate
make
more
the
people
difference?
later on, they're
Mhm.
all just zombies. They're all just
Yeah.
Walking Dead idiots.
And I feel like the implication at the end for Meg is she's going to be violent, zombie type too.
Yes.
Yeah, especially, that's also, I'm like, if we just saw what happened with the serum and you're reviving your girlfriend, why?
Because he loves her.
That's
so
love,
Keep
Jessica.
doing CPR.
I do think that's because one of the sequels is called Bride of Re-Animator. I got to
Oh.
imagine that is
Her.
her.
I don't know.
It's got to be. But also when
Although, is he the reanimator or Wes is the reanimator? So maybe not.
I
Unless
don't
she
know,
leaves
that's-
him for
Well,
Wes.
I know that
Oh
this
my
was like
God.
supposed to be originally more of like a Frankenstein tale.
Yeah,
and
It's
right.
then
definitely
they,
very Frankenstein.
well, it
I
was saying
think.
like because it's based on an H.P. Lovecraft
Right.
thing.
Yeah.
And then what I read was like the first like 45 minutes or whatever are pretty faithful, and then it veers off into its own world.
Yeah.
And so
'Cause-
then it wasn't quite as Frankenstein because it's not really.
Yeah,
I
right,
mean, like
right,
there's
right.
Frankenstein
no.
was Mary Shelley anyway, but it is very Frankenstein still. Like,
I
Yeah.
don't think the ending is very because like who's the monster?
well, in Frankenstein it was Dr. Frankenstein, and in this case I think it's Wes Herbert. Herbert.
So then
Wes.
who is his?
Who is his creation?
Yeah,
The
well,
severed head?
yeah, Dr. Hill.
Or
I
maybe
think.
all of them.
All of them in a way.
Which, by the way, when severed head
Dr. Hill.
Dr. Hill gets head cut off or dies, all the zombies, we have that classic moment of like all the zombies feel his pain.
Oh,
Which was a little.
Hard to.
Listen, guys, I'm
Classic
with you through
Independence
most of this
Day.
movie. 90% of this film, that science adds up, it makes sense, and I'm on board. But that was the
90%
one
of this
moment where I was
makes
like,
sense.
Yeah,
why?
for sure.
Why does that happen? They are all their like his eyes get ripped out, and then all of them they put their hands over their eyes as if they are feeling the same
Right.
pain.
They're all twins now.
It's
They're
the
all
lobotomized
twinsies.
part.
Did any part
That's
of
how they knew the cue to get up.
Did
Okay.
any part of it really scare either of you?
I guess because I had seen this once before, but it had been years ago, so I don't remember any part being truly scary, though.
But what about this time? Also, no.
Yeah, definitely not this
Yeah.
time. I think because I knew the majority of what was going to happen.
Yeah.
But I think the first time I watched it, the cat scene was both like a little. I would have had a jump scare at least at one
Yeah.
point with the first cat scene.
I think her go right before that when she goes into his room to look for the cat.
Oh yeah,
That was where I was like scared. So I was
yeah,
like, what's gonna happen to her? Why is she going into his room? And like, what is
Right.
she gonna find? And I felt like that scene because the guy Dean Cain like leaves her
yeah.
to go look for the cat, and she's all alone going into that room for the creeper,
Yeah.
who I still think is the villain of this movie.
Yeah.
And
I think he is.
I think that was the most suspenseful part for me. And then like later when he's going down, he hears the screaming cat, and he's going down into the basement. Like there were moments like that where I was like, I don't know where we're going.
You're a
with
little
this.
on edge of what's gonna
Yeah.
happen next. Yeah, I can see.
And like the most surprising part, I think, to me was the dad getting crushed by the door.
right.
Where then the thing just like jumps on the door a few times to crush him. Where I was like, I didn't know that
That's
was about to
brutal.
happen.
Yeah.
And that's where I started to think of Wes as the bad guy, because I was like, his ambition
That's
is
where?
greater. Yeah.
Oh, from the roommate scene. Where he's like ignoring the girl and he's like, where's your basement?
Yeah,
I gotta
but to
see
me,
it.
that's
Can I
just
have
I'm
it all
like,
alone to
he's
myself?
ambitious, he's eccentric, he's
No.
focused.
You know,
But once it's
I don't
human
like
lives
basements.
being sacrificed, I'm like, your ambition is outweighing your morality.
Yeah, I think that's the thing about Wes. He's doesn't have the sense of morality because he's got so much.
Right.
He's so concerned about what can be.
Yeah.
And I think that's admirable.
He's the hero of
He
this
really
movie.
is.
How dare you guys? Poor Linus.
Poor Linus.
Oh.
Oh, now that you say that, when she called I haven't Rufus was the cat.
Rufus.
Yeah, I haven't seen Rufus anywhere for a while, and then she just does that weird like.
I know there was something so weird about it.
It hurt. Yeah, the way it was done, I was like, I've called my cat millions of times. I've never just like sat there quietly and.
Yeah, why? I couldn't put my finger on it because I'm like, yeah, I have heard people make that noise for cats, but why was it so
But hers was so
unnerving?
strange.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is like I've never had a cat, and that's the sound I make for cats. I wonder if it's like I don't have a cat thing.
It's not. Well, it's not that.
Because I don't make that sound for dogs. My dogs would be like, "Hey,
Right.
I'm
Hey,
right here."
get over here. But like, I'll call Linus and I'll make like a sound similar to that. What do I? Hey, Linus. That's what I
Okay.
do. But it was her like very strange, just slow turn.
To herself?
Yeah, it was almost like it was to herself versus like out to the cat.
I did like though
Yeah.
that she starts making the weird noise, and then he starts calling Rufus. I liked that he like backed her up in that moment and wasn't like, "The cat's fine. Let's have
Yeah,
sex."
he wasn't a shitty boyfriend.
Yeah, because he wasn't great the rest of the fucking time.
He was a
So,
little underwhelming.
In that one moment, I was like, okay,
But he's
maybe he
hot,
does care
and
about the
that's
cat.
all
I
that
mean, I
matters.
get it. That does. Listen, as a hot person, I can
You
understand.
get it.
Right?
When
Yeah,
all we
totally.
see of the cat is the cat like jumping on them while they're having sex.
Yeah.
The cat
Yeah.
doesn't get like a lot of screen time before he's
No.
monsterfied.
Yeah.
Before he's like a Muppet
Yeah.
cat.
This is also why you kick your animals out of the room before you have sex.
My
Like-
dog exiles himself. It's really weird. He didn't
Ooh.
used to. He would try and
He
like
just
hump
knows
my
now.
leg.
Really?
And now as soon as anybody's like sort of undressed, he's out.
Oh no, my dogs want to watch in a way that I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that used to be Luke. I don't know how he just
I'll like put up
learned.
a pillow or something. I'm like, you don't need.
Oh,
Like,
no.
They're like
Out of
Village
the room.
Dam.
Out of the room. It is the beginning of foreplay for us when animals are escorted out because I am not.
That's the sign.
I am too uncomfortable.
As soon
Linus
as one
doesn't
person
care
kicks
much.
one of them out, the other one is like, oh, I know what they're doing. They're
Well,
making a move on me.
you know Emmy, Jody's dog. So my wife has a
It's like a little poodle.
yeah, it's a Bichon.
Okay.
She's like a therapy dog and she was a rescue pup, and so if Jody is in the vicinity, the dog can't not be
Right.
there. So like it is Linus probably
Which
would
we
be
have
like
similar 'cause
not
we have a
care.
Cavalier.
Just be like whatever.
And Cavaliers have to be next to you all the time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. When you've come over, have you ever seen Desi just go off by herself?
Yeah, no, that doesn't.
Cavaliers have to be like near you. That's what they're bred to be, like on top of you. They're lap dogs.
Yeah.
They were bred to keep humans warm.
So fucked up if that's your whole purpose. Like, get a blanket. Don't breed a dog.
Desi's
That's
like,
a
"No,
very
I have
Wes
purpose."
move. Wes is like, no, I'm going to breed
I,
animals.
that
for
is
warmth."
how. I mean, I feel like if Wes is to have sex, that's what he would say. We are going to breed now.
Yeah. The world needs another
The world needs
scientist.
another one of me, so
Yeah.
I'm not going to enjoy this either.
He's so creepy.
He's so
good at being
creepy, but he's
creepy.
so perfect.
Who are you guys in this movie?
Ugh.
Oof. I feel like I'm dad. I'm concerned dad
You're the
who,
Dean.
even through zombie, would feel love for my daughter and
Aw.
save her.
Except for when your friend is coming onto her in a very creepy way.
But I would like. I'm also I don't
the
like
obsession
I-
of every man.
I don't like to. I don't want to get into a thing with another person. I'd be like, well, I'll talk to her about it later and
Yeah.
say I'm sorry he did that, and I
Mhm.
don't want to.
I like
I
that
like that the
explanation.
dad was like cool with them dating too, because Dr. Hill is obsessed with her and is like, "Do you really think that's a good idea for them to be seeing each other?" And that he's like, "I think it's fine.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay."
Who are you?
I am Wes because he keeps his clothes on,
Uh-huh.
whereas like you see Dean Cain shirtless and she's naked. Like there's so much nudity in this movie, but he's always clothed, which I relate to, and he's obsessed with his notes, which I am also. I've been dealing with computer and phone stuff, but the only thing that I have backed up to the cloud are my notes. I need my notes.
Oh man.
Oh, I would be Megan. I'm like, "Where's the cat?" I'm very concerned about the cat. I have a lot of red
Mhm.
flags with this roommate. I don't think
Mhm.
it's a good idea.
Yeah.
And like every time she's like, "You should ask him to leave," I was like, "Yeah, you fucking should." I'm on board with a lot of her thinking.
There is the moment when she does tell him no to the roommate situation, where she just like turns her head but shakes her head no, and I'm like, I'm sure
He
he's
can see that.
Yeah, you need to like just mouth it. You
Yeah.
can't shake your whole head no. He's
She
very
doesn't have
aware.
any time.
It was.
Because also he accepts him as a roommate so fast that I was like, this is a bad sign for like him as a whole. You shouldn't marry him. He is not doing his research. He asked him zero fucking questions.
Yeah, he did not go through a thorough check.
And this is, by the way,
True.
this is why like I never had a roommate. It's because I had a dog and I was like concerned. Well, what if I bring in a roommate and something happens to my dog? This is my case in point. You get a roommate, your cat ends up in the refrigerator.
Also, how many times are you checking in to rent a new place at night?
Just show up.
Right? You just show up
Also,
at the door and you're
Don't
like,
call.
Red flag where he says, "Can I move in right this minute? My stuff is in the car."
it's in the car.
It's like, no.
I'm like, he knows what he wants. He's decisive.
Especially because, like, Dean Cain still has his shirt off from having sex. He's like, "Can I move in right this
He's
minute?"
wearing just he has no clothes. He's just wearing the blanket
Yeah.
because he was doing that cute weird. I like it sometimes when movies
yeah.
are like, he'll do a cute thing and then
Where he
it's him
acts like a
pretending to rise
possessed-
from the dead. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't think anybody would think this is cute.
It's
She was
also-
into it.
She was. It's interesting in the wake of Me Too that even though in this movie it's very clearly playful, she's saying no, stop so many times that I'm like,
Yes.
this is making me uncomfortable. Stop. She's saying stop.
It's
She's
like when
made it
somebody
very clear.
tickles you and you're like, "No, I'm trying to say no, but I'm laughing because you're tickling me."
Right.
She's been
Like-
trying to get out of this relationship. She's so happy she died, and then he reanimates her. And she's fucking furious.
That's why she's mad.
She's
Not
so
because
mad
the
in the
serum.
sequel. But yeah, just because he brought her back. And
That reminds me of there's a comedian, I wish I could remember who it is, who has a joke along the lines of like when athletes win something and they're like, to my mom, I know she's watching from heaven, that it's like, fuck you. She had to watch you her whole life and now she has to keep
See,
watching
right?
even in death. So it's like that.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, she's done.
Yeah.
She's out.
She's done her job.
She's done it.
She's
yeah.
fulfilled her obligations.
Stop trying to call her back.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank
for
you
doing
guys.
this.
Yeah, thank
Oh,
you
I
for
loved
coming.
it.
We'll have
Do
to
you
have you
wanna-
back from the Dream Warriors.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Mhm.
please. Bring
We
me in.
haven't, see, because you sent me a list of movies,
Yeah.
and I had recently seen Nightmare on Elm Street 3, but we haven't done the first one yet. So I feel like for the podcast, we have to at least do the first one before we jump into the third one.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You're going to skip the second? There's a lot of
No,
feelings.
I think we
a
should
lot
do
of
the
people
first and the
have a lot of
second.
feelings
I
on
think
that
I'm
second
gonna
one.
skip.
They'd go in order. I'll
yeah.
do it as a solo episode.
I like the third because it's when Nancy comes back.
Yeah.
So I feel like you got to see Nancy come back.
Do you want to promote anything? Do you have a social media?
No, don't bring it up. It's awkward. No, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding.
Sorry.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Adam-Wasser on both, Wasser.
Great.
And yeah, I think that's all I got to promote right this second.
Do you have anything to tell the lovebirds for this month of Feb?
Oh, guys,
as a married man.
don't listen. You can listen to your
Don't
partner,
listen.
but really look.
Don't listen to your partner.
Look for the big. I was gonna say social cues, but look for like nonverbal cues. If she shakes her head no, you don't need to hear no. You should just get it.
Mm-hmm.
Good
I think there's
advice.
little things like that that can really sustain a relationship.
I do feel like with my husband there, if I give him a look and we're in public, he knows what that means.
Yeah. Jody and I, it took us a little bit longer than I thought, but we've got our like little winks and whatever. We know the meanings now.
Mm-hmm.
Amir and I talk to each other in Hebrew, and that helps.
Oh,
but
sure.
we can't do it around family, so that's annoying.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jody knows sign language. She's an ASL interpreter.
That's awesome.
And I'm learning Spanish through Duolingo, and it's not helping
No.
in either way.
No.
And I know a little bit of Hebrew from bar mitzvah and stuff,
Oh,
but
dope.
yeah.
Okay, so
Yes.
now that you've been on this podcast, is there anything you would like to say to convince people to give us 5 stars or rate and review and subscribe?
Guys, these two are two of the best in the business.
Oh God.
And they are not well yet known enough, and it's a sham, and it's not fair, and it's wrong. One of the many things wrong with our society today. So
It's at
if
the
you
top of the
listen to
list.
this podcast, first worry about global warming,
Mhm.
and then worry about this podcast getting more ears on it.
Feels like the Steve Martin bit from SNL.
All right, well, great. If because I plagiarized. I'm
Oh,
Herbert.
good
Yeah,
callback.
I'm
Good
Dr.
callback.
Hill.
Love it.
Give them 5 stars.
And you can find us on He's Right Behind You podcast on Instagram. And our next episode is Midsummer. Happy February.
It's a good movie.
Bye.
Bye.